You've moved from California to Florida. I'd be really interested in you giving us an overview of why, because you're not the first person I've heard of that's been pretty keen to get out of California.
I'm certainly not the first and I'm not the last. Actually, about 1 million people in 3 years, 1 million people have fled California, which was once the dream of America. I mean, the whole idea of move west, build your dreams, go to that undiscovered country. But 1 million people have fled back to the East Coast, to Florida. Several 100,000 have gone to Texas. We see this red-blue divide, which is, I would say, getting more and more divided, would be the way to say it. I did it on December 17th, 21. It's a day that's actually etched in my brain because it was, 2+ years into COVID. The lockdowns, the crazy mandates, the idea that I was, as an employer, going to be able to tell my own employees whether they should be injected with something or not seemed completely insane to me. I was running illegal parties, dinner parties at my house. I couldn't go to restaurants because I wasn't vaxxed. And then it was the series of just ridiculous things that were happening. You could eat outdoors, couldn't eat indoors. If you were standing, you had to wear a mask. If you were sitting, you couldn't. All the stuff that everybody knows. But it was really, I would say, although Australia certainly had an extremely bad version of it, California and LA, where I was specifically, might have had the worst in the world, maybe outside of China. So I fought very hard for the recall of Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of California. I campaigned with my friend Larry Elder, who got a couple million votes, but Gavin Newsom did win that recall. And you'll love this, John. I was audited by the state 3 days after the recall. So after publicly campaigning to get rid of the governor, I was audited by the state. That was about September 15th, 2021. I put my house for sale that very day, and I was out of there by December. And I have to tell you, in the 2+ years that I've been here in Florida, we have no income tax, which is nice, but that's not why I moved. We have rule of law here. We have decency. We have a common understanding of civics here. We defend our First Amendment and our Second Amendment here. We have good education here. We don't have a crazy homeless situation or drugs on the streets. And in many ways, I feel like I live in a different country. And the last thing I'll say is, that's exactly what the founders intended. We have the beautiful system of federalism, so that ever-going experiment is happening between these 50 states. And if you want to be taxed highly and not get a lot in return for it and have to live amongst filth and crime and everything else, then I highly recommend California. If you want to save a little bit more of your money and you want to be amongst people who understand what freedom's really all about and have the means to protect that freedom, I would say go to Florida. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of states in between that have varying versions of that.